familiar with that poem by Rudyard Kipling where he says he has a whole litany of things, but one of the lines is that if you can keep your head about you when all else are losing theirs, and at the end of it, he says that you'll be a man, my son. So it's this father-son kind of dynamic. Um, but I hope you're doing well. I hope that you're able to keep your head about you. Um, I kind of want to acknowledge that there is a lot going on in the business and commercial world right now. And you might even say that the tides are receding, and you can probably feel it. I don't know if your intuitive nature might be engaged. Hopefully, I'm not talking crazy. Maybe even by just saying those words, people out there hopefully are nodding their head. But there's stuff. I mean, it's like we got inflation up. We got it's an election year, so things always get crazy during an election year. Um, we have tariffs placed on China right now, which are messing with the economy. Um, yeah, just craziness. There's just craziness all over the place, right? So today's show, we have three segments. The first segment is an encouragement. I want to introduce an idea to you. And the second one is a concept that I'd like to introduce to you. And then the third one, we have youngs versus olds, which is that's a goodie. That's a tried and true.
And this one's going to be really fun.
I'm excited. I always go into those blind. So let me just jump into it. I don't want to waste anybody's time here. Let's jump into segment one. And I wanted to introduce this idea of the Oz principle. This is a book that was written, I think, in the mid to late 90s. It was around the time, maybe early 2000s. It was around the time, I know because they reference Good to Great in there, which is a fantastic book. But it starts with this idea that is a old and simple truth, but it is a truth that is kind of hard to embody because it's work, right? The truth is that you can change your mind. There's a biblical principle where it says, take every thought captive. And the idea there is that you have a responsibility to capture your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts kind of come at you. They just happen, right? So they're zinging through your brain all the time. And there's this responsibility to grab one, right? And analyze it and judge it and say, is this a good thought or a bad thought? Because it keeps coming around. And if it's bad, you throw it away. And if it's good, you hold on to it, right? Well, this book, the Oz Principle, starts there, and it has some great language for what to do with thoughts as they come in, and that's really where it starts. What he draws in that book, I don't even know what the author's name is now off the top of my head, but he draws a line. He says, okay, there's this line, and you have this thought. Now, are you going to place it above the line or below the line is the language. Below the line are things like, I'm going to ignore this, or I hope time changes it, or I'm going to finger point and blame somebody else, or there's all manner of negative things. There's like, this is not my job might fall below the line. But then he has above the line. And this above the line is where you have agency, you have autonomy, you have responsibility as an adult, a mature adult. Oh man, what a concept. And above the line, there's only 4 steps. There is see it, so you can articulate what the issue is or the problem or the opportunity or the solution, whatever. So see it, own it, solve for it, and then do it. These 4 really super, super simple steps. what they do is that whenever you start thinking in those terms, it is quite honestly one of the most empowering things. You actually have the ability to capture all of these random thoughts that are coming through your mind and do something with it. There's implications across the board, of course, but one of the things that I wanted to encourage you, this audience, with is that if you see something, it's yours to solve. It's not somebody else's. If you see something, you don't get to stand back and just be like, well, I hope somebody else sees it. Well, no, if you see something, you actually have ownership over it just by the mere fact of you see it. So I wanted to encourage you that in all of this environment, all this economy, all this wildness, there's actually something of a empowerment, a power that you have to own this environment a little bit. So go out there and set your shoulders back and your chest up and your chin up, and there's a lot you can do. And so I wanted to encourage you with that. Should I move on to segment 2? Yeah? Okay. All right. What'd you think about that?
I think that's great.
Okay. All right.
I think it's good to be encouraged towards action and not being, well, the word's escaping me, but passive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And activation, I think, is the thing I kind of love about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so section number 2, and actually this section came to me from my friend Ryan, who works here at Fidelis, and he asked that I would explain the difference between executive branding and company branding or corporational. That's not even a word, is it? Corporate. There you go.
It can be today.
Corporationalism. Branding. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is that the principles are identical. If you are branding a thing, the process and the ideations, the theories, and the practical steps, those are all the same. You treat them similarly. But I want to start with, there's a preamble, there's a pre-understanding that people are, and I try to tell people this, people are not brands. People are people. They are a category completely separate from branding. I have a soul, I have a mind, an intellect, emotional self, and it is inherently far more valuable than brand. Okay? And that self has the ability to employ a practical and useful mechanism called branding. So that's kind of the first difference. Corporations and businesses must brand because they don't have soul. And so it starts at the brand. Whereas a person starts with much more faceted, more value than the communication tool that we call branding. So there's a big difference right there. But then you get to the branding side of things, and it is so valuable and so important. And if you find yourself, here's where this might be relevant to you. If you find yourself out in a environment, an industry, or an economy where you are having to sell yourself. So here are some types of people who would have to sell themselves. I would argue anybody who ever seeks to have a C-suite job in this current environment must pay attention to their own brand. So as people move companies, as they shift, as they move industries, the resume is important, but it is becoming less important if you have a brand, because what you're trying to do is articulate to the outside world, your audience, who you are, and you're trying to make it very easy. that easy mechanism is branding. So we have a lot of clients that are even currently right now are looking at mergers and acquisitions. They're looking at how do we sell this company that we have built for a long time. One of the things is, and I heard a client say this last week, look, Tim, we know that when you sell a business, it really just comes down to the people that are in it. So one of the evaluations is who are the people that are running this business. That is that slice where personal executive branding comes into play. It's not just the resume. It's also the personality. It's the leadership style. It's the communication. It's the persona, the figurehead of the company. If you are starting out in business and want to get a job, this is an area that you can pay attention to. You can actually go in, even as a right out of college person, and start articulating your own brand. Again, I want to caution you that understanding the whole self, your person, is not branding, but articulating some of that to the outside world is what branding is all about. And so, to Ryan, who asked this question, I would encourage everybody to pay attention to their own brand. We have executives who form websites and they put together their own press kits. You can kind of think of it like authors. Authors have to do an excellent job of branding because they have to get ready to go on tour. So Tony Robbins, right? Or Kanye, I don't know, pull out a human brand somewhere. They are more than that brand. And they also use branding and the concepts very well. And so that's kind of the best way that I can articulate how a person and a brand co-mingle. So I hope that answered the question.
So this might be a little bit of a departure from
Yeah.
what you were just talking about. I just was telling some of the younger team members here how LinkedIn actually became a platform when I was in college.
Yeah.
And how in one of my classes we all signed up for our LinkedIn together and all these things. And they just kind of looked at me like it started. And we were like, yeah, we didn't know what it was and if
just
it was
from the
valuable
beginning.
at all. Yeah.
Yeah, back in my day.
It wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was.
You want to
not-
hear like a funny thing? My family and I have gone back and we've started watching Family Matters, like with Urkel. You know, remember that? Yeah. And there's this whole concept about the central phone that is in the kitchen.
Oh yeah. With
And
the long cord.
yeah, and at one point Eddie has to go and ask a girl out, so he gets dressed up and he bathes himself in way too much cologne, and he walks over to her house to ask her out, and he walks back and he's got a shirt sleeve ripped off and he's limping, and he didn't know that she had a boyfriend named Bubba. It's like the world that we grew up in is so, I mean, maybe this is our segue over into youngs versus olds, but man, it's just the concept of having to I remember signing up for Gmail.
Yeah.
Like that was a thing. Yeah. LinkedIn. I don't even know when that happened.
AOL email for so long that now it's stuck as my Apple user ID.
Yeah.
You can't change it.
Yeah.
It's just
You're
there
stuck with
forever.
that. Yeah. Is AOL still a thing?
Technically it is, because every 2 years I have to sign in so that it doesn't erase my account.
It didn't die.
It hasn't died.
Well, let's use that as our segue into youngs versus olds.
Beautiful.
Now, there's a little bit of a caveat. There's a little bit of a caveat in that, Christina, you are not that much younger than me.
I'm not.
And so it's kind of like old versus slightly less old.
Well, to keep with tradition, I got one of the younger team members to write this for me.
Oh, cool.
So it
Okay.
still is young versus old, but I will say when I went through some of the questions at the beginning, I got them wrong. So,
Okay, great.
you
Then
know, you don't
we're
have to be
then we're
embarrassed
good.
in front of me.
Oh, embarrassment's kind of part of the fun, isn't it?
Okay, so there's two parts. The first one is it Shakespeare or Taylor Swift?
Oh, okay.
And then there's gonna
Oh
be a
man,
fun little bonus at the
I'm
end.
gonna bomb at this.
Oh, I did too, and I was a
Okay.
little bit embarrassed. But there were a few Shakespeare quotes that I was like, I know exactly what play that's in.
Okay.
Okay.
We
So let's get
attracted
started.
Hannah into the production studio here.
Stay away.
Oh yeah, come say hi.
Hello.
All right. You came for the embarrassment show here.
That's right. I had to pull up a chair.
That's
You can do
good.
the bonus with us.
Great.
It'll be really fun. Okay. Why then can one desire too much of a good thing?
That's Taylor.
Shakespeare.
Is it? Oh my gosh! Right off the bat, I'm wrong. God,
As you like it.
I was so considering that. This is not going to be easy.
On the very moment, all was lost.
Shakespeare?
Taylor.
Oh my gosh!
From Evermore 2020.
I refuse to believe she's that good. That's impressive.
Lord, what will become of me once I've lost my novelty?
Well, that seems like a thing she should be worried about. But Shakespeare.
Taylor.
Your gut was telling you the right
I
thing.
know.
You got
I'm
That's
0 for
from
0 here.
Red.
Or 0 for 3.
Okay. I have to like read it through to make sure I can pronounce. Like I just try not to give anything away in the way I read it.
Go ahead.
We know what we are, but know not what we may be.
It's so lyrical. I'm going to go with Taylor.
Shakespeare.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You got this.
All right, go on.
You've got this.
Bring them fast cuz
Your faithless love's the only hoax I believe in.
do it one more time.
Your faithless love's the only hoax I believe in.
Shakespeare.
Taylor.
Oh. How many are we in? 5,
Okay,
6?
We have
I'm 0 for 5.
we
I
have
think.
12.
I'm 0 for 6.
You've
Yes, over
missed
5.
5.
I'm 0 for 5.
Yes.
So there's
This
no
one
way
should be
there's no way I'm
easy.
passing by the academic standard.
This is true.
Okay. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown.
So, okay, this one they're all tricks. They're all tricks. This one feels trickery because it's old sounding. Taylor.
Shakespeare.
Oh my god. This is terrible. I took 2 years of Shakespeare, 2 semesters of Shakespeare in college.
Oh man.
Okay.
Your professors are
Oh yeah, they're
almost
just
rolling over in their
Oh.
chairs.
Not that old.
I don't well, one of them. Ooh. Okay.
All right. Number 7. Clover blooms in the fields. Spring breaks loose. The time is near.
Taylor.
Yes. 1 of 7.
Oh my gosh.
Work.
Man, this is shockingly
Okay.
difficult.
Number 8. I pray you do not fall in love with me.
Also Taylor.
Shakespeare.
No way. From what? You
As
probably
You
don't have
Like
that
It.
written down. As You Like It. Yeah, okay.
This is the last time I'm asking you why you break my heart in the blink of an eye.
Taylor. Yes.
Nice.
Come on.
Okay. What's done can't be undone.
Taylor.
Shakespeare.
Hey, you're getting better.
Jeez.
You've got a run going here, sort of.
I want to throw chairs at this point.
The robbed that smiles steals something from the thief.
The what that smiles?
The robbed that smiles steals something
Shakespeare.
from the thief.
100%.
Very.
I'm guessing hit something in the Henriade.
Othello.
Oh. Okay.
All we are is skin and bone, trained to get along, forever going.
That's dripping with emotion. That's got to be Taylor.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you keep count of that by chance?
I didn't get. I
but
think I got 4
see.
right.
You got, yeah, that sounds right.
I think so.
So what's 4 out of
So
12?
4 out of 12. That's
You got a third of them.
66%.
No, 33%.
4 out of 12.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
25%.
It's a
4 out of
third,
12.
right?
We're not mathematicians here.
That's
Listen,
Okay.
I'm not a
Okay,
historian.
okay. So our bonus
Okay.
is the breathe out. Okay, wait. It's the breathe out all your air and try to scream challenge. I think it's called something else.
Oh, this is another game?
Yes.
Okay. What do I do?
Okay. I'm going to give you an example. Hannah, if you'd like to try this too, you
Oh,
can
yeah,
do it.
I haven't tried it yet.
Okay. It's trending because of how funny the noise you make is, but it'll be quick. Okay, so all you have to do is breathe out every bit of air in your lungs, and then don't breathe in. And when you get all of it out, you try to scream.
Oh, it's going to make like a sound, right?
Like barely anything can come out.
The one I did yesterday was not what I was expecting. Okay, so here's your example.
I don't want to do this. Okay. No, that was, I had way too much.
Breathe all the way out. Keep going when you think you're done.
Really deflate.
So,
Oh, good. That's good.
Hannah, would you
that was
like
it.
to try?
Classy.
That was it.
Okay, I'll try.
The faces that we're making are terrible.
I still had some in there, I think.
Oh, that was pretty good. Well, all right.
amazing.
I say we cut and leave it on that very weird note. All right. Well, bless all of you fine folks out there, and I hope y'all have a fantastic week. Adios.